So in the early 2000s, I actually was the co-founder of our original Green New Deal. We called it a New Apollo project. It was for a $300 billion investment in renewables. And we succeeded. We got President Obama. He did about $150 billion in renewables between 2007 and 2015. But right away, we started running into big problems. The first you're all familiar with, unreliable electricity means you always have to have fossil fuel power plants backed up or something to back it up when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow. But the other issue that I think had a bigger impact on my heart was just that there was all this environmental impact going on from building solar and wind farms. So you started having local conservationists that were raising concerns about the impacts of wind farms on bird and bat species, about the impact of solar farms on our desert tortoise, which is an endangered species. So you started having environmental consequences from renewables. Start running the numbers. It takes 450 times more land to get the same amount of electricity from a solar farm as from a nuclear plant, 17 times more materials required for solar than for nuclear. And if you just total up all the used solar panel waste, and you compare it to nuclear, solar actually creates 300 times more toxic waste than nuclear. So for me, it was like, if I care about the environment, why are we not doing more nuclear power? Nuclear has even if you don't care about climate change, nuclear has the smallest environmental footprint because it has the highest energy density. So for me, my red pill moment was realizing that energy density determines environmental impact, and that the reason that uranium, a single Coke can of uranium provides enough electricity, enough energy for my entire life, all my jet travel, one Coke can of uranium, whereas there'd be many train cars full of coal, many train cars full of oil or gas, and even more for renewables. So that was, for me, what made me change my mind. As countries start to develop, they build hydroelectric dams, which is the highest form of renewable energy. Some of them build coal-fired power plants. And then what we see as countries get wealthier, they start to move towards natural gas. Natural gas produces half of the carbon emissions, 95 or 99% less of most conventional air pollutants. Natural gas is so clean we burn it in our homes. In some countries, they use liquefied petroleum gas. And that's a wonderful transition, right? So you go from wood to coal to natural gas. And then the final step is towards uranium, which we use to make nuclear power. What you're doing along that step is you're moving towards more energy dense fuels. There's just more energy per mass or matter in each of those fuels. The concerns that we start to have around things like solar panels and wind turbines is you're actually going in the other direction. You're using more energy dilute fuels, sunlight and wind. And so it requires many more materials over much larger landscapes and much more waste. People worry a lot about nuclear waste. I don't worry about nuclear waste at all. For me, nuclear waste is the selling point of nuclear. Well, why is that? Well, nuclear waste, what we mean by nuclear waste is just the used fuel rods. So one Coke can of uranium fuel is enough to give me all the energy I'll use in my entire life. At the end of the process, comes out as that same solid metal fuel. It is harmless. Literally, you can't make a bomb out of it. You can't do anything dangerous with it. It can't leak because it's solid. So all of the nuclear waste that we have in the United States can fit on a single football field stacked about 50 feet high. In Britain, it's just a tiny fraction of that. So if you're thinking as an environmentalist about how do you reduce your impact, how do you reduce material throughput, how do you reduce waste output, there's nothing better than nuclear. Now, not everybody can do nuclear, but the main thing is to be going in the right direction of travel towards energy-dense fuels and away from energy-dilute ones.